Onshape workshop, so I'm going to demonstrate how to extrude and revolve parts in Onshape. So I only have my top plane selected here. I'm just going to make a sketch real quick. I'm going to make two parts. One of them I'll extrude and one of them I will revolve. So there we go. That's good enough. And I'm going to demonstrate extrude first. So first of all, for extrude, this basically is what makes your shape 3D. It's going to be your most used button in Onshape, most of the time at least. And it makes 2D sketches into 3D parts. So here we go. You can change the thickness of your part using the slider, or you can customize it entirely in the depth. And notice you can use math symbols. So if I want to do 80/2, it does make it 40 millimeters for me. And you can either add to an existing part, which I don't have right now, which is why it's wrong. You can remove, which also right now won't work because there's really nothing to remove, but I'll demonstrate how that looks later. You can use an intersection or you can create a new part. So right now the only thing it will let me do is new, since this is my first extrusion. So I'm going to select that, and let's go ahead and use this sketch on this plane and I'll demonstrate the remove. So if I want to make like a circular hole in here, I'm not going to bother too much on the aesthetics and extrude. See, I can either add to this region and kind of combine this all into one part, or I can make a new part and see part 2 appeared. So this will be its own kind of separate entity that I can use in my assembly. But I'm going to do remove. And notice this time it will let me remove because I'm removing into the surface. And I can remove past the surface. I can really remove as far as I want to. It's just going to make that hole go through the entire thing. But if I want to make a little container, I can do that here. And I can go ahead and select it. And now I have a little mini container in this box. And I'm going to demonstrate now how to use shell. So if I want to use a shell of this part, basically what shell does is it kind of creates a box. So right now my shell looks quite weird because I have the remove feature and it's just not really um, looking like a box, but more or less it would look like a box, and I can change its thickness here. So I can make it 7 millimeters and that thickness changes. And its depth here, it goes 7 millimeters between these two edges. And if I select yes, I have a shell in here. But let's demonstrate how to use Revolve. So that's not the sketch I did in. Which one is the sketch I drew my circle in? Oh, it's right here. Okay, let's make that visible again. After you extrude, your sketch will automatically become invisible, so if you want to continue working with it, you need to toggle its visibility again. But I'm going to revolve, so notice I don't have the option to add yet or remove, but I will do new. So I have to toggle this revolve axis, and what if I want to revolve it around here? So now my shape just basically revolves entirely around that axis, and I have like a donut now because it's that circle going all the way around, if you can see that. And this created its own separate part, notice that. And you can do some very fun things using Revolve. It definitely creates that symmetry. These features are more useful, for example, when creating a mug. So I can do a little mini tutorial on that. Just give me a second. So, for example, I'll demonstrate this by creating a little cup, but I will say right now it's not gonna have a handle just because um, I don't think I would be good at making a cup with a handle. But I'm gonna utilize, I'm gonna make two. I'm gonna make one using the shell and I'm gonna make one using Revolve. So first I'll make one using the shell. So for this one, I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to make I can make a circular shape mug. That should be pretty simple. So I'll start it right here. I'm not gonna worry too much about its aesthetics, but anywho, I've been saying that fully. Alright, so I'll extrude this, and I definitely want a mug that's taller than this. I'm gonna want something, I know this is in millimeters right now, but I'm just gonna scale it correctly. That looks about right, and let's make a new surface. And I don't really want a mug that can't store anything, so I'm gonna do a shell feature in here. And these borders look awfully thin, so I'm definitely gonna make a thicker shell. That looks a little better. I think I'm gonna make it even thicker just because I'm gonna fillet this later. So now I have a little hollow space, and I feel like these edges might be a little bit sharp, so I'm gonna use my fillet tool, and I'm going to make these edges softer by selecting this. And I can change the way my fillet goes. So I think this is about right softness, and I'm gonna do the same thing for this side. The rest of the mug seems okay. I think that should be fine. I'm just gonna select that as a yes, and notice I have these curved edges now, so it's gonna be a little bit easier to drink out of. So, that's mug number one. I'm just gonna hide this. And then I'll make a new mug. So this time I'm gonna use my Revolve feature. So this is gonna be one of those red solo cups. So let me just view normal too. First, I'm gonna make my line to reflect this upon because I'm gonna need to reflect it across the center. So that should be fine. I do not want a construction line. I don't want it connected for that. So now I'm just gonna create my cup and just see how it goes. Um, Probably gonna want something like this, just kind of like so. Okay, and then I'm gonna want to have like some little spikes because I know that the red solo cups have spikes on them. I don't know how many, but I'm just gonna add a decent amount of them. And now I'm suddenly drawing a circle. I actually don't know how that happened. Anywho, this should be like a decent amount of spikes, I would say. But next, what I'm gonna do, are these not connected? That was supposed to be connected. Okay, that's why. I was wondering why the region wasn't shaded. Okay, so next I'm gonna make this a little neater. First of all, I'm just gonna double check that these lines are horizontal by clicking. There we go. This line, I want it to be horizontal. Not the point, the line. There we go. These lines should be fine, but I do want them to be parallel to one another. And then I want these lines to be parallel to one another. Okay, that's a little better. And then I want the dimensions of these points to be equal. Okay, that looks better. So now I'm gonna do the same for these bottom points. Okay, so now the points should be equally sized. And then for my thickness, I'm gonna be consistent about this. This looks like an awful number. I'm gonna do 3. Oh, I did 3, not whatever I did type in. Okay, that kind of scaled everything down, but that should be fine. And next I want the distance between these two to be 3. So let me just select that. Okay, so now these should be fine. I'm gonna make sure that these lines are parallel. Okay. And these lines are parallel. Okay. So that's definitely looks better. I've evened it out a little bit, so I think I'm ready. But before that, I'm gonna demonstrate the use of fillet on a sketch. So I just select it right here, and I can customize it. I'm not gonna bother using the accurate dimensions just because I'm just gonna do this by eyeballing. That looks about right. So if you're wondering how this is gonna be normal too. How this is going to turn into a cup, I'm about to demonstrate. So I'm going to click on my Revolve feature, select faces and regions to revolve. So I do want to revolve this, and I definitely want to revolve my little teeth. Good. And now I need this keeps disappearing somewhere, gosh. Okay. Now I need to select my revolve axis. So I'm going to click on revolve axis, and I need it to be around here. So look at that. We have our own cup, and it has the little teeth. And I said I wanted it to be a red solo cup, so I will make that bright red. And there we go, and notice that sketch fillet right here, you can see it. There really is no difference when you add a fillet. If I were to click on this edge and I wanted to, add a fillet to it, I can customize it, make it look about the same, but sometimes it's easier to do in Sketch, sometimes it's easier to do in the part when it's actually printed. But those are our two cups. They are intersecting each other, which is why it's kind of odd to view them at the same time, but let me know which one you like more. I'm just gonna color this just because I feel like it's only fair if this one is a pretty color to make this one a prettier color. That's odd color for a cup. See, that looks nice. That looks nicer. All right. So if you would prefer to drink out of this one, or if you like this one more. But anywho, those are the tutorials. You can use these to make containers, etc. Some basic things. But thank you for watching all the way till here. Look forward to the next workshop.